today in today's webinar. We'll be talking about trends in snacking, and we'll be discovering methods and recipes to become snack kings and queens. And so today's webinar will be talking about snacking mindsets. We'll be talking about 3 approaches to snacking, characteristics of snacking, and we'll be covering snack recipes as well. And then at the end, if there's time, we'll do a question and answer. So snacking has been around for ages. Oftentimes, we can picture pharaohs and royalty lounging around, snacking on grapes, and having that luxury typically meant you were well off. In modern society, Americans last year, according to a NPD Group Future of Snacking report, Americans consumed almost 386 billion snacks. And this should be interpreted in a good way, because even though the snacking industry could hold a good amount of the blame for the health issues in America, we have a lot to learn from the titans of industry to make better choices, or as consumers, demand better products on the shelves. Quoting Michelle Baffardi, who's the VP of Digital Editorial of the Food Network, she says, snacking has been on the rise for the past few years. It's grown to be an $89 billion industry, but the trends we've seen, and I think will continue to grow, are around health. Not just healthy snacks, both as healthful as well as snacks with a perceived health halo, but the trend is moving towards functional and health-promoting snacks. Things like chocolate quinoa bars, collagen cookies, kombucha, granola, and probiotic cheese, and ice creams blended with vegetables. There's an interest in carb alternatives. That's not going anywhere. Crackers, pasta, snack mixes, and wraps made with cauliflower, legumes, and coconut and lab-grown meat, fish, dairy alternatives are continuing to grow and become more mainstream. There's an increased interest in snacks and foods with less or low sugar, but not just with alternative sugars or sugar substitutes. Packaged food manufacturers and recipe developers are looking to botanicals to add flavor where sugar and sodium used to be. Ingredients such as chamomile, lavender, rose, and elderflower are popular botanicals we're seeing a lot more of in the snacking industry. The previous mindset on the snacking industry, as you can see, are typically highly processed foods. As one of the things we can keep in mind is the vending machine, and I'll be referring to the vending machine throughout this presentation because it is a literal piggy bank based off of our habits of snacking. And as you can see in the next graphic, this this isn't an actual definition of snacking, but these are some characteristics of snacking. I'm not hungry, but I'm bored. Therefore, I'll eat snacks. I like to eat snacks while I'm looking for a better snack. If we're not meant to have midnight snacks, why is there a light in the fridge then? And keep your friends close and your snacks even closer. So it's just a little bit of fun thinking about snacks. Although this mindset typically does play into the previous mindset of snacking with the highly processed foods, the 3.5 servings per bag mentality, higher in calories, obviously, when they're hyper palatable foods, and again, those simple sugars. So when it comes to snacking, we should keep these 3 things in mind: being decisive, making the best nutrition choice, and able to sustain your lifestyle. The reason why vending machines do so well is not because the snacks are super nutritious, but because they're placed in areas where actual meals are not at hand and there's no place to store food. And so snacking on what's provided becomes a literal piggy bank for the vending machine industry, at least. So we should be decisive with our snacks, make them work for us throughout the day. When it comes to nutrition, yes, there's those highly processed foods that are typically tend to be on the less nutritious scale, but we can also use those in our favor as well, as long as we portion control and look at the serving sizes, which a lot of these companies are moving towards. We're starting to see smaller portion sizes with the with the packaging. We have the 100 calorie packages. We the uh, things that are so sorry. Hi. Things that are pardon me, sorry. Um, so yeah, so we can see how the just one moment. Pardon me.
Yeah, and then I'll bring you to the website now.
Okay. So yeah, so the nutritious aspect to those packages, right? Understanding the portion sizing could help us in our daily and our daily lifestyle, making them useful for us instead of grabbing the one bag and eating the entire bag, portioning it out through your day. So enjoying the first first part of the bag, the first part of your day, and then the remaining part of the bag at the end of your day. Um, so and then and to the nutritious aspect, it shouldn't be as complicated because as long as we stick to whole foods or minimally processed foods, whatever we choose to snack on, whether it be fruits or a handful of nuts, will help our bodies in the long run and should keep and should keep us sustained throughout our day. We should keep in mind foods that are higher in protein. We should keep in mind foods that are higher in protein and lower in sugar. They should be nutrient dense, especially if we're choosing prepackaged and minimally processed foods. A snack should be considered 300 calories or less. Reason being, because normally anything above that is a meal. Also, you can typically manage energy-dense snacks such as, again, your favorite fruits, any chopped vegetables, baby carrots. Those typically you can have more of in a position, or I'm sorry, more of throughout your day, um, as long as we're portioning them out. And so we also want to keep in mind flavors. I added flavors and textures in the content of our perception of calories because depending on what we're eating, we can either sacrifice the flavor of things because some snacks can be very plain, very quick go to, celery with ranch or baby carrots and any kind of dipping. But again, you kind of want to also keep that in mind. And we'll go over a few snacks later where we can talk about flavors and textures. I also added the protein recommended daily allowances for the macronutrients because snacking can be a helpful tool to reach those recommendations. There's a notion out there that eating around the clock speeds up your metabolism, but the reality is that eating around the clock keeps your energy input and output in balance, and so it's constantly working. So the more active that you are, the more snacking you can enjoy. Kind of referencing back to Robert Downey Jr.'s performance in The Avengers. There's plenty of a few scenes in the movie where you can see him grabbing for snacks behind either stuffed behind a computer or just right there on the counter. Um, because again, if you're out there saving the world, you don't typically have time to sit down for a meal. But snacking again can help you reach those recommended daily allowances for whatever activities we have going on. And we also want to keep in mind that snacking is to be convenient. Again, thinking about the vending machine. But there's also prep times and storages for cooked snacks. Unlike those processed snacks, those prepackaged snacks, and we should keep that in mind when we're typically making, snacks for the week in our home. We understand how long we can hold those snacks in our fridge, or if how long we can uh, take them, take them out the fridge, and when if we're going to work or wherever we're at, we can keep at hand. So as we see, cooked eggs, typically prep time for cooked eggs is going to be 10 to 30 minutes. And once they're cooked, you can hold them for 3 to 4 days. Legumes and beans, right, 1 to 3 hours, depending on how you're cooking them. But once it's cooked and refrigerated, you can hold for 3 to 5 days. And kind of wanted to talk about avocados because I think we've seen the nice trick about once we cut up avocados, I'm sorry, drizzling some lemon juice on there will actually keep it from browning as quickly as we know avocados do. And then shredded meats, I also added there that to this table because if you're utilizing that with quick nachos or some small at hand snacks that you can create, cooked meats could typically last 3 to 4 days for fresh beef, veal, lamb, and pork, or chicken and turkey, 1 to 2 days in the fridge. Moving on to some recipes. So one of my go-tos is easy, quick breakfast snack. Again, eggs in the oven. Typically, a muffin tin will have 12 slots, and there's a dozen eggs. So it's as simple as cracking eggs in there and dressing them up as you would like. I do spray a little bit of cooking oil on there. I'm sorry, olive oil on there. And they literally just pop out 14 to 18 minutes, however you like them cooked. And again, these are quick little ways in the morning. If in the morning you're typically rushing more, just to grab and go. And again, eggs will last you a good 3 to 4 days once they're cooked in the fridge. Moving on. This homemade hummus and naan, which naan is a very popular Indian bread, like just a staple in the home, and very easy to make. About 2 to 3 hours for prepping, and once everything is prepped, you make your dough right on the table. You literally just fry it up right there. 2-3 hours after you let it rise, and a good homemade hummus. Easy with chickpeas. One good tip is to remove the chickpea shells. If you're buying canned chickpeas, and it actually comes out with a creamier substance. And again, you can throw in your minced garlic, your olive oil. Depending on your taste, you can keep this to a very minimal a very, very minimal calorie snack. As you can see, a fourth of a cup is 190 calories, and one whole naan bread would be 231. Depending on how much you're dividing for yourself, right? We can keep that within a good snack range number. And again, you want to look for high protein. Anything typically above 4 to 5 is a good high protein snack. So you see these are 5 grams of protein in the naan, 6 grams of protein in the homemade hummus with the chickpea. The chickpeas are just a very resourceful bean for health. And so another one of my go-to snacks is no bake energy munchkins. I call them. They kind of remind me of the little donut holes from Dunkin' Donuts, and these are pretty fun to make even with kids, or because they get pretty dirty. Or not, I don't want to say dirty, but your hands tend to get a bit chalky from utilizing the cinnamon, or I use cocoa powder for mine. And so basically what you would do is you get your old-fashioned oats, your coconut flakes if you'd like. You can use peanut butter for a mold, and basically any kind of seed. I'll put chia seeds in mine, which chia seeds are really good. Um, Chia seeds are a really good source of protein. So if you're trying to, keep from eating meat and keeping your protein intake, up to par, this is one. Chia seeds are really good, really good for that. So you add your honey. You can use mini chocolate chips. I use dark chocolate. I'll break it up, and then just coat everything into or mix everything into a bowl, and let that refrigerate for a good hour overnight, however you feel. It holds really well, and it's a quick little go to if you're craving something chocolatey, if you're craving something with peanut butter, and again you're trying to watch watch how much you're eating when and they're filling too. They're really filling.
Are the coconut flakes just for nutrition, or do they have a purpose to holding it together?
Uh, both, both. Again, it's a really good function. I am not a big fan of coconut flakes, so I don't really use much coconut flakes in mine. But some people, like I've seen some people just coat it on there because depending the holdability of it, it really just depends on how long you leave them in the fridge, or I'm sorry, in the freezer. The longer you place them, the more it'll hold. But majority of the times when I see these, I see them more topped and not as much mixed into it. But this recipe seems like it works for them. Again, it's more upon how long you let them chill overnight.
And then, so you said shredded fruit could be substituted. So what do you mean, dried
Oh yeah.
fruit, or do you mean?
So like cherries, you could use dried cherries. It's another good binder. A lot of dried fruits are going to be kind of good, or like the skins of fruits also is another substitute that I'll do. So sometimes like you could just like the mashed cherries, mashed berries, kind of mash that all together, and it holds really well with the other ingredients.
Okay, like dates. Somebody mentioned dates.
Come again?
Somebody mentioned dates. Dates.
Oh, dates. Yes. Dates are another one of those fruits that are nice and sugary, and well, like the natural sugars help to hold the shape. And again, these are fun to make with kids at home, because again it tends to get a little bit messy, but kids love the mess. So. And speaking of kids, here's some some snacks for kids from the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. As you can see, some of these are pretty quick. One of the things that I do like to try is actually number 12, sprinkling grated Parmesan cheese on hot popcorn. Typically, like a lower calorie popcorn is really good, really great snacking choice. Again, it all comes down to portion sizing and portion control, and the Parmesan just adds a really nice deep flavor to a regular popcorn. Some other ones that I thought were really interesting. This spreading mustard on a flour tortilla and then rolling it up in number 5. I remember doing something at times, and I was just like, man, I don't feel like cooking. I'm just gonna just make this roll up here, and it actually really is an easy great way to substitute like an actual sandwich, which can typically be a good 400 500 calories. And when cutting them up makes it very very fun to snack on. And yeah, so again, there's 25 other snack ideas where typically these pantry items you can just grab and make simple together without worrying about serving size or without worrying about measurements and things of that sort. But again, if we do want to keep a mindset of 300 calories or less when we're thinking about snacking, because anything above that is again typically a meal. All right, and these are my sources. Thank you so much for listening in. If anybody has any questions or other questions, I would gladly love to do my best to answer.
Let's take some questions, and then after the questions, maybe everybody can share some of their favorite healthy snacks.
Yeah, definitely.
Any questions?
I have a question. Sorry,
Go ahead.
hello.
Hi.
Hi there. Sorry, I'm in my office of sorts. So, question, and I cannot pronounce it properly, but the Greek yogurt cucumber sauce, the Greek stuff, I know it's like tzatziki or something. Is that healthy, unhealthy? Not so great? Does anyone know what I'm talking about?
I think he's frozen.